Good evening and welcome to Global Sports Network. Tonight, we focus on the most prestigious stage in world football, the UEFA Champions League, where the 2025-26 season signals not just another campaign, but the continuation of a revolution. European football has entered a new age, faster, broader, richer in data, and heavier in expectation. This year's competition is the second played under UEFA's new format, and already it is rewriting everything we once knew about the rhythm and meaning of the European game. Across 36 clubs and 16 nations, the competition has become a microcosm of modern sport itself, driven by analytics, global economics, and the constant battle between heritage and innovation. For fans in Madrid, London, Munich, and Milan, the Champions League remains a sacred theater. For emerging clubs in Lisbon, Leipzig, or Istanbul, it is the proving ground of ambition. The anthem still plays, the lights still shimmer, but what happens between kickoff and full time has changed forever. The 2025-26 season continues the structure first introduced a year earlier, known worldwide as the Swiss model. It replaces the familiar group stage with a single league table of 36 teams. Each club plays 8 league phase matches, 4 at home and 4 away, against 8 different opponents of varying strength. The draw pairs every side with 2 teams from each of the seeded pots, creating a balance of challenge and opportunity. At the end of those 8 matches, the top 8 clubs advance directly to the round of 16. Those finishing from 9th to 24th enter a playoff, home and away, for the remaining 8 knockout berths. The bottom 12 are eliminated outright. It's a system designed to reward consistency and intensity, to make every fixture matter. Gone are the dead rubbers of December, in their place are high-stakes clashes from the first whistle to the last. UEFA officials claim the change aligns football with modern consumption patterns, more games between elite sides, more broadcast drama, and more global reach. Critics argue it burdens players and compresses domestic calendars beyond reason. But whatever the perspective, the result is clear: the Champions League has become an endurance test as much as a talent showcase. This season's timeline stretches from early September 2025 through late May 2026, with the final scheduled at Budapest's newly renovated Puskás Arena. The venue selection is symbolic, Central Europe positioned once again at the heart of the continental game. Between now and then, over 250 fixtures will unfold, generating billions in broadcast views and revenues exceeding €3.5 billion. UEFA has also deepened its digital integration, offering fans AI-driven highlight feeds, multilingual commentary tracks, and immersive virtual stadium cameras. It's football redesigned for the algorithm age, yet grounded in the same emotions that fueled the European Cup since 1955. Every campaign begins with familiar names atop the odds lists, and 2025-26 is no exception. Real Madrid, Manchester City, Bayern Munich, and Paris Saint-Germain remain the 4 gravitational centers of European football. Yet around them orbit a growing galaxy of challengers: Arsenal's young core, Liverpool's resurgence under Arne Slot, Inter Milan's tactical discipline, and Atletico Madrid's ever-resilient counterpress. Real Madrid stand, as always, both benchmark and mystery. Carlo Ancelotti's squad blends the wisdom of Luka Modric, now in his final European run, with the energy of Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., and Endrick. The Spanish giants ended 2024-25 as semi-finalists. This year, their mission is nothing short of reclaiming the crown. In Madrid, the Champions League is not a trophy, it's a habit. Manchester City enter under familiar scrutiny. Pep Guardiola's machine remains technically immaculate but faces questions of endurance. With Erling Haaland again leading the line and Phil Foden ascending into a global icon, City possess unparalleled attacking depth. Yet the expanded format means no respite. Tactical perfection must be sustained across 8 unpredictable fixtures before knockout play even begins. Paris Saint-Germain, reigning European champions after their dramatic triumph last May, now confront the hardest task in sport: repetition. Kylian Mbappé remains their emblem and engine, captaining a roster redesigned around youth and balance. Warren Zaïre-Emery's growth has given France its new midfield star, and the Parisians believe they have finally built a side defined by system, not superstardom. Bayern Munich, perennial Bundesliga rulers, approached this campaign seeking redemption after a turbulent domestic year. Jamal Musiala's creativity, Harry Kane's finishing, and the arrival of new defensive leadership signal a team determined to restore German efficiency to continental dominance. Meanwhile, England sends a record 6 clubs into the league phase: City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Newcastle United, and Aston Villa. Their presence underscores the Premier League's unmatched financial power and tactical diversity. For the first time in decades, more than one English champion is plausible. The Champions League has always been a laboratory for tactics, and this season its variety is extraordinary. Guardiola continues to refine positional play through asymmetrical back lines, rotating between 3-2-5 structures in possession and 4-4-2 presses out of it. Ancelotti's Madrid remain faithful to transitional brilliance, soaking pressure, striking through Vinicius and Rodrigo at lightning pace. In England, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal blend geometric build-up with direct vertical surges, reminiscent of Wenger's Invincibles yet rooted in modern analytics. Liverpool under Slot emphasize fluid pressing and multi-layered midfield rotations. In Italy, Simone Inzaghi's Inter have evolved the classic back three into a dynamic shape that morphs between defense and overload. Each of these approaches must now confront not only elite opponents but the sheer volume of games. Fatigue management, rotation depth, and medical analytics are as decisive as formation diagrams. Behind every pass and sprint lies a network of sensors. UEFA's partnership with data tech firms has made the 2025-26 Champions League the most measured tournament in history. Every player wears GPS trackers, every movement is translated into terabytes of data processed in real time. Clubs employ AI models to predict fatigue thresholds and adjust training microcycles accordingly. For the viewing audience, these innovations appear as augmented reality graphics, average positions, pressing heat maps, expected threat indices, once confined to analysts' laptops, now displayed on global broadcasts. Football storytellers have become statisticians, and the modern fan consumes numbers as eagerly as goals. Underdogs and dark horses. Beyond the giants, the heart of the Champions League beats in its outsiders. This season's romantic hopes include Benfica, Atlanta, RB Leipzig, and Sporting CP, clubs that operate with discipline, recruitment intelligence, and tactical clarity. Benfica's academy pipeline continues to deliver elite youth, while Leipzig's high-tempo transitions unsettle richer sides. From Turkey, Galatasaray return with a balanced squad blending experience and flair. From the Netherlands, Feyenoord represent the modern Dutch model, data-driven, fearless, built around homegrown synergy. These sides may not lift the trophy, but they define the competition spirit, ambition without entitlement. Matchday drama. As autumn unfolds, early results begin to sketch the season's hierarchy. Real Madrid open with a thrilling 3-2 away victory at Milan San Siro, courtesy of a stoppage-time strike from Bellingham. Manchester City grind out a narrow win over Atletico, Haaland scoring from a tight angle after 70 minutes of defensive frustration. PSG stumble early, held to a 1-1 draw by Arsenal in Paris, reminding the world that even champions can bleed. Liverpool's Anfield revival electrifies fans with a 4-3 triumph over Napoli, echoing the chaotic brilliance of Klopp's era but under Slot's calmer orchestration. Bayern Munich, meanwhile, start unevenly, conceding late to Inter Milan in a 2-2 draw that exposes defensive lapses. Each week offers heavyweight collisions and smaller upsets, Benfica stealing points in Munich, Marseille shocking Manchester United, Celtic forcing a draw at home to Barcelona. The Swiss system randomness ensures perpetual novelty, no repetitive fixtures, no predictable groups, only evolving storylines. The managerial theater. Managers have become celebrities in their own right, and 2025-26 presents an unprecedented array of personalities. Ancelotti's calm contrasts with Guardiola's intensity, Luis Enrique's philosophy with Tuchel's precision, Arteta's youth with Allegri's pragmatism. Their post-match press conferences shape narratives as much as their tactics. Media coverage now tracks touchline demeanor, substitution timing, and body language metrics analyzed by AI. In a data-saturated age, perception management has become part of coaching. Broader stakes. Beyond footballing beauty, the Champions League stands at the crossroads of geopolitics and economics. Broadcast reach extends across 200 territories, sponsorship from global tech, automotive, and finance giants fuels record revenues. Clubs see the competition not merely as sport but as soft power, expanding brand markets from Asia to the Americas. UEFA's challenge is balance, maintaining sporting merit while accommodating commercial demand. Expansion to 36 teams brings opportunity but also risk of dilution. Critics fear that as the league grows, the path for smaller nations narrows. Supporters, meanwhile, celebrate inclusivity and diversity of matchups unseen in the group stage era. As winter approaches, storylines thicken. Injuries test depth charts, surprise results shift playoff projections. But one truth is constant: the Champions League remains football's purest stage, where every club measures itself against history. The 2025-26 UEFA Champions League has already proven that success is no longer determined solely by the size of a club's budget or the fame of its stars. Instead, it is shaped by innovation, tactical creativity, adaptability, and the ability to thrive under a schedule that challenges even the deepest squads. This season has been a masterclass in evolution, where the world's best coaches test their philosophies against the unforgiving demands of a new era. The rise of tactical complexity. In this new format, every fixture presents a different kind of opponent, forcing managers to adapt quickly and think beyond traditional systems. Gone are the days when a dominant side could rely on a single formation across an entire group stage. Each match now requires bespoke preparation, and the variety of playstyles across Europe has created an unprecedented tactical chessboard. Pep Guardiola remains the sport's great innovator. His Manchester City side continues to blur the line between positions, with defenders stepping into midfield and wingers drifting inside to overload the half-spaces. The fluid interchange between Rodri, Foden, and Haaland has created a tactical signature, precision-engineered football that relies on numerical superiority and controlled risk. Yet even Guardiola admits that the condensed schedule and unpredictability of opponents test his squad in new ways. At Real Madrid, Carlo Ancelotti has responded with simplicity, a system built on transition, intelligence, and individual brilliance. Where Guardiola constructs complexity, Ancelotti trusts instinct. His Madrid side can defend deep for 80 minutes and win in the 81st with a moment of pure class. The combination of Bellingham's late runs and Vinicius Jr.'s explosive counterattacks keeps Madrid both unpredictable and lethal. In Paris, Luis Enrique's PSG represent a hybrid model, technical possession with direct purpose. Mbappe's central leadership and the dynamic movement of young midfielders like Zaire Emery have created a team defined by tempo rather than stardom. Enrique's focus on pressing and off-ball discipline has transformed PSG from a collection of individuals into a cohesive European powerhouse. Elsewhere, Mikel Arteta's Arsenal continue to refine their identity. Their positional structure is built on symmetry and discipline, but what truly defines them is their intensity. Arsenal's pressing sequences are among the most coordinated in Europe. Every run, every trigger, every recovery is orchestrated with precision. It's the kind of tactical maturity that signals their transition from promise to genuine European contender. Defensive modernization. If attack defines excitement, defense defines endurance. The Champions League's new format rewards teams that can manage tempo and maintain focus under pressure. Inter Milan's back three system remains the gold standard of defensive organization. Simone Inzaghi's side compresses space with surgical precision, forcing opponents wide, where crosses meet an army of defenders. Bayern Munich, traditionally a highline pressing team, have been forced to adjust. With more games and more travel, Thomas Tuchel has introduced selective pressing, bursts of intensity followed by controlled rest phases. It's a pragmatic shift that emphasizes efficiency over domination. Manchester United, under Erik ten Hag, have reintroduced structure after a turbulent domestic season. The Dutch manager's insistence on building from the back and compact mid-block defending has improved their European stability. United may not be flamboyant, but they are increasingly difficult to beat. Meanwhile, in Italy and Spain, smaller clubs like Napoli and Real Sociedad are redefining defense through possession, keeping the ball as the first line of protection. It's an old idea reborn for the analytics age: control the game, and you control risk. Modern football is no longer coached by instinct alone. Every decision, from substitutions to training intensity, is guided by data. Clubs across Europe now operate with integrated analytics departments that rival corporate R&D teams. Manchester City's in-house data lab tracks over 1 million individual player actions per month. Real Madrid use AI to analyze opponent behaviors frame by frame, simulating tactical outcomes before a match even begins. Bayern Munich apply machine learning to optimize recovery times, while PSG's recruitment team uses predictive algorithms to scout players whose performance profiles match their tactical model. UEFA itself has embraced this transformation, introducing Champions Insights, a data platform that provides broadcasters and fans with advanced real-time statistics. The marriage of sport and science is redefining how we experience the game, turning strategy into spectacle. The globalization of style. For decades, European football was defined by regional identities: the flair of Spain, the precision of Germany, the grit of England, and the tactical nuance of Italy. But in 2025, these borders are fading. The Champions League is now a melting pot of global influences. African and South American coaching philosophies have merged with European analytics. Asian academies supply players trained in high-intensity pressing and mental discipline. The modern Champions League match is no longer about national styles, it's about the fusion of ideas. A Brazilian fullback may overlap under a Dutch coach, while a Korean midfielder executes a German gegenpress. The result is a universal language, the language of football in the 21st century. Economic power and inequality. But innovation doesn't exist in a vacuum. The financial reality of the Champions League continues to shape its competitive landscape. The richest clubs are richer than ever, while smaller teams fight to stay relevant in a marketplace that rewards scale and sponsorship more than tradition. The Premier League's dominance is particularly striking. English clubs collectively outspend their continental rivals, with broadcast revenues exceeding €6 billion annually. That financial muscle translates into deeper squads, superior infrastructure, and global fan engagement. Even clubs like Aston Villa and Newcastle now possess budgets that surpass historical European powers such as Ajax or Porto. UEFA's challenge is to balance growth with fairness. The governing body has introduced new financial sustainability regulations to replace the older financial fair play rules. These aim to cap wage spending relative to revenue, ensuring that clubs live within their means. Yet enforcement remains difficult, and questions persist about whether true equality is even possible in an age of billion-dollar investors and state-backed ownership. Perhaps the most dramatic change this season lies not on the pitch, but in how the Champions League reaches its audience. Traditional television is giving way to streaming platforms and digital experiences. Matches are now broadcast simultaneously across multiple languages, with AI-generated commentary available in real time. Fans can switch between tactical camera angles, referee microphones, and even player-mounted perspectives. UEFA's partnership with major tech companies has turned the Champions League into a global content ecosystem. Clips are optimized for short-form platforms, highlights are automatically subtitled, and match data syncs with fantasy leagues and virtual watch parties. What once was 90 minutes of football has become a week-long narrative across every device. This digital transformation has opened new markets, particularly in Asia and North America, where younger audiences prefer personalized, interactive viewing. For UEFA, it's not just about football, it's about competing for attention in an entertainment-saturated world. The new stars of Europe. While legends like Modric and Benzema fade into history, a new generation is taking over. Jude Bellingham, barely 22, embodies modern football's hybrid spirit, technically refined, tactically intelligent, and emotionally composed. His performances for Real Madrid blend maturity with flair, earning him comparisons to Steven Gerrard and Zinedine Zidane alike. At PSG, Warren Zaïre-Emery has become France's most promising midfield talent since Paul Pogba's prime, combining raw energy with elegance in possession. His partnership with Mbappé represents the bridge between generations, the torch passed from superstar to successor. Manchester City's Phil Foden continues his ascent, mastering the role of free-roaming playmaker under Guardiola. His vision and timing have made him central to City's European ambitions. Meanwhile, across the continent, talents like Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz, Lamine Yamal, and Alejandro Garnacho signal the depth of youth development that fuels modern Europe. These players are not just athletes, they are brands, digital icons whose influence extends beyond the pitch. Social media reach, sponsorship deals, and personal content production make them global ambassadors of the sport. The Champions League is their stage, and they are redefining what it means to be a football star. A season of surprises. By the midway point of the league phase, the standings are tighter than ever. Every quiet person was loud once. Every silent man had a time when he cared, when he tried, when he spoke, honestly, fearlessly, until he realized that most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. So he stopped explaining himself. He learned that peace is better than persuasion. That stillness is better than approval. That the moment you no longer need to be understood, you're finally free. But freedom has a cost. It means walking alone. It means being misunderstood by a world addicted to noise. It means finding meaning not in others' reactions, but in your own clarity. The quiet man lives differently. He doesn't waste energy proving his worth. He builds it, silently. He doesn't shout about his plans. He moves in silence until results make the noise for him. He knows words are currency, and he spends them wisely. In relationships, he listens more than he speaks. He understands before he responds. He doesn't manipulate, he observes patterns. He knows when someone's lying before they finish the sentence. And that makes others uncomfortable, because you can't deceive someone who lives in stillness. Modern society fears this type of man. Because he's unprogrammable. He doesn't need validation, trends, or applause to feel alive. He's the opposite of what the system wants. He's quiet. He's self-aware. And he's impossible to control. That's why quiet men are often alienated. They're not fun. They're not open. But that's exactly what gives them power, they're selective with their energy. They know where to invest attention, and where to withdraw it. They understand that most people speak to be heard, not to connect. And that's why they speak less, but mean more. Yet, silence doesn't have to be a cage. It can be a weapon. When you use it with intent, it becomes the loudest language of strength. Silence forces others to reveal themselves. It makes people uncomfortable, because it exposes their need for noise. The psychology of pressure. Perhaps the most underanalyzed dimension of modern football is mental resilience. The Champions League demands perfection under scrutiny that few professions endure. Every missed penalty, every defensive lapse, becomes a global talking point within seconds. Players face not only opponents but algorithms that rank their performance across billions of screens. Clubs have responded by hiring specialized mental coaches and performance psychologists. The objective is no longer to eliminate pressure but to harness it, to convert anxiety into adrenaline. At Real Madrid, pre-match visualization sessions simulate crowd noise and high-stakes scenarios. At Arsenal, mindfulness workshops teach focus under chaos. Success in modern football depends as much on the nervous system as on the tactical board. As the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League moves from its dense league phase into the knockout rounds, the narrative tightens. The world's most elite clubs now step into a phase where every pass, every mistake, and every substitution is magnified under floodlights that reach billions of viewers across every continent. The air becomes heavier, the noise sharper, and the margin for error non-existent. The drama of the knockouts. Nothing in world sport captures collective attention like a Champions League knockout tie. It is theater scripted by fate rather than authors, where tactics dissolve into emotion and superstars must justify their reputations. The new round of 16 draw, derived from the league phase standings, produces matchups that are simultaneously fair and brutal. A first-place finisher might face an old rival, a surprise qualifier might collide with a dynasty. Each leg unfolds like a symphony of contrast, the meticulous structure of Manchester City against the raw chaos of Napoli, the clinical precision of Bayern Munich against the counterattacking verve of Arsenal. The away goals rule is gone, replaced by pure aggregate scorelines that amplify. Drama. When tied after 180 minutes, the modern penalty shootout is broadcast with augmented reality heat maps showing goalkeeper tendencies and shooter preferences. Viewers no longer merely watch, they analyze alongside the professionals. Underdogs and redemption. Every season yields its Cinderella story. In 2025-26, that role belongs to Benfica, whose disciplined defense and counterattacks have stunned Europe. Under manager Roger Schmidt, the Portuguese side has balanced analytics with authenticity, compact lines, rapid transitions, and set-piece precision. Their run to the quarterfinals proves that methodology and spirit can coexist. Elsewhere, Borussia Dortmund's young core continues to defy financial disparity. Despite selling stars every summer, the club's philosophy endures: nurture, trust, and unleash. Their progress to the last 8 reminds the football world that identity can be a competitive advantage in itself. For clubs like Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City, the stakes are existential. Their domestic dominance means little without European validation. Every knockout tie for them is a referendum on legacy, on whether endless investment can buy not just victories but respect. The Champions League is their final exam, and every year the question is the same: can money manufacture myth? Moments that define eras. History in this tournament is measured not in seasons but in moments. A single goal can echo for generations. Fans still recall Zidane's volley in 2002, Drogba's header in 2012, or Messi's masterclasses through the 2010s. This season already has its candidates for immortality: Jude Bellingham's 94th-minute strike against Barcelona, Lautaro Martinez's spinning volley versus Bayern, and Mbappé's coast-to-coast solo goal under the Paris lights that reminded the world why speed and grace remain football's purest language. These are not just highlights, they are cultural imprints replayed endlessly in living rooms, on phones, and across digital billboards. Each clip becomes a memory that transcends geography, a shared global experience compressed into seconds of perfection. Rivalries renewed. Certain rivalries define eras. Real Madrid versus Manchester City has become football's new continental epic, a recurring clash between artistry and engineering. The narrative writes itself, the romantic unpredictability of Madrid's mystique against City's scientific precision. Each encounter feels like a philosophical argument about what football should be. Arsenal's duels with Bayern Munich have regained heat, symbolizing the Premier League's rise against German efficiency. Inter Milan versus PSG represents old versus new Europe, tradition against transformation. And beneath these headline battles, countless micro-rivalries flourish: coach versus mentor, prodigy versus idol, data versus destiny. The emotional geography of Europe. Each city that hosts a Champions League night transforms. The stadiums are not merely venues, they are cultural landmarks. In Manchester, blue smoke fills the streets around the Etihad as fans march to drumbeats echoing through industrial corridors. In Madrid, the Bernabéu glows like a cathedral of modern architecture, where marble, steel, and history merge into reverence. In Naples, alleys burst with fireworks and spontaneous song hours before kickoff. These local rituals compose the broader map of Europe's emotional geography. They are reminders that behind the global glamour lies the beating heart of communities. The Champions League sustains identity, it connects generations through shared memories and inherited loyalties. The American connection. The United States, once an outsider in European football culture, now stands firmly within its gravitational pull. American ownership of major clubs has expanded rapidly, and U.S. broadcasters treat Champions League nights as primetime national events. The fan base has matured from casual curiosity to analytical obsession. Stadium bars in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles fill at dawn for kickoff, blending patriotism with imported tradition. Major League Soccer academies have begun exporting players to Europe's elite, deepening the pipeline between continents. Names like Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna paved the way. The next wave, including young Americans in Germany and England, solidify a transatlantic football culture that no longer feels foreign. The Champions League is no longer over there. It is here, streaming on every device, embedded in the American weekend rhythm. The Global South and football diplomacy. In Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Champions League broadcasts remain communal rituals. Cities pause as local heroes take the field for European clubs. The emotional economy of the sport stretches from Nairobi to Buenos Aires, from Jakarta to Accra. For many, this tournament represents aspiration itself, the visible proof that talent can cross oceans and conquer continents. Football academies in Senegal, Nigeria, and Ghana now operate as gateways to Europe, producing disciplined, multilingual athletes who integrate seamlessly into tactical systems. In Asia, investment in youth programs, especially in Japan, South Korea, and the Middle East, signals a long-term strategy to produce homegrown stars capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with Europe's elite. These developments have turned the Champions League into a global stage of soft diplomacy, where nations showcase potential through their players rather than their policies. A goal scored by a Moroccan winger or a South Korean midfielder carries symbolic weight far beyond. Economics of the future. UEFA's financial model for the 2025-26 season has evolved into a self-sustaining entertainment ecosystem. Advertising revenue from streaming platforms now surpasses traditional television contracts, and virtual partnerships with gaming companies create additional income streams. Clubs sell digital matchday experiences, access to locker room cameras, manager talks, and drone footage, for micropayments. The integration of artificial intelligence into marketing has personalized football commerce. A supporter in Mexico City might receive a push notification for a Real Madrid jersey minutes after Vinicius Jr. scores, complete with automatic language localization and price conversion. Every cheer becomes a data point, every data point, a potential sale. Yet amid this monetization, concerns linger. Traditionalists fear football's soul could drown in algorithms and commercial metrics. UEFA insists the balance remains intact, that financial stability ensures sustainability, and that cultural heritage is protected by regulation. The truth, as always, lies in the tension between progress and preservation. Coaching the next generation. As clubs prepare for a future where every marginal gain counts, coaching itself has entered an evolutionary phase. Virtual reality training allows players to rehearse tactical scenarios without physical fatigue. Artificial intelligence simulates opponents' movements so precisely that players can practice counter-pressing patterns against digital avatars. At the same time, football schools emphasize holistic education, psychology, communication, and leadership, to ensure players are not just athletes but ambassadors. UEFA's elite coaches program now includes modules on social responsibility and media literacy, acknowledging that the modern footballer's voice influences millions. The road to the final. By spring 2026, the finalists emerge from months of attrition. Real Madrid, powered by Bellingham's brilliance and Vinicius's pace, stands against Manchester City, whose machinery of passing and pressing continues to define modern perfection. It is more than a match, it is an ideological duel between legacy and innovation. The stage is set in Munich's Allianz Arena, a venue steeped in European memory. Under the roof's shifting light, the anthem rises, a chorus that transcends language and belief. Cameras pan across faces etched with anticipation. Billions watch in synchronized breath. The game itself encapsulates the entire evolution of football. Madrid counter with artistry, City respond with orchestration. Guardiola paces the sideline like a scientist defending his thesis, Ancelotti, calm as ever, orchestrates from the bench. Every possession feels scripted by history itself. When the final whistle sounds, regardless of the victor, the true winner remains the sport, its ability to unite emotion, intellect, and beauty in a single spectacle. Legacy and reflection. When trophies are lifted and confetti fades, the Champions League leaves behind more than memories. It leaves a legacy of ambition, technology, and unity. The 2025-26 edition demonstrates that football's evolution is unstoppable yet rooted in timeless truths, teamwork, courage, and hope. For players, it is validation. For fans, it is belonging. For the world, it is proof that amidst division and uncertainty, a shared language of joy still exists. The Champions League is not merely Europe's crown jewel, it is humanity's reminder that competition can inspire connection. As the lights dim on another season, one realization remains clear: the 2025-26 UEFA Champions League has redefined what football can be. It has become a mirror of our age, data-driven yet emotional, global yet intimate, commercial yet communal. It reminds us that even in a world of algorithms and analytics,